Welcome to NTD Newsroom. I'm Don Ma. President Trump sounding optimistic about a deal with Iran as the vice president is set to attend in-person peace talks. What's in the administration's latest message and warning to the Iranian regime? The U.S. is pressuring Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, partly by keeping American military forces in the area. The latest on the reopening of this crucial waterway. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu approves ceasefire negotiations with Lebanese officials. The potential talks come as Israel targets Hezbollah. The Secretary General of NATO promising that Europe will take on a greater role in the alliance. Hear him outline the future of NATO in Washington, D.C. House Republicans are calling for an investigation into alleged CCP-linked nonprofits in the U.S., warning they may be engaging in political activity and influencing elections. A small bird is causing a big stir in Manhattan's Bryant Park, with crowds gathering for a wildlife sighting that's turning an ordinary park visit into something extraordinary.
This is NTD Newsroom, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. President Trump projecting optimism about a deal while also issuing fresh warnings to Iran. Joining us now live in studio is NTD's White House correspondent, Iris Tao. So Iris, good to have you here. Can you tell us what is the latest?
Sure. So as we know, the U.S. delegation led by Vice President J.D. Vance is heading to Pakistan this weekend to do in-person talks with Iran about the temporary ceasefire. But we know that the president this morning and telling NBC News that he's very optimistic about how this is going, about a deal potentially being reached. But he also adds that Iranian leaders are talking, quote, much differently when you're at a meeting than they do to the press, adding that they're more actually reasonable when they're actually talking with the administration themselves directly. The president also adding that Iran is agreeing to do all the things that they have to agree to. Remember, they've been conquered. They have no military. And that really echoes what the White House was saying earlier this week when they really try to push back on media reporting about a 10-point peace plan reportedly proposed by Iran. The White House saying that no, that's not the version actually given to the administration behind the scene. The real version is more reasonable. And here's what the White House press secretary was saying earlier this week. Watch.
What Iran says publicly or feeds to all of you in the press is much different than what they communicate to the United States, the president, and his team privately. Never underestimate President Trump's ability to successfully advance America's interests and broker peace. President Trump has a proven track record of achieving good deals on behalf of the United States and the American people, and he will only accept one that puts America first.
And Don, while we know that there's a lot to watch for in the upcoming hours, if not days, about how the in-person talks will go, but we also know that the president is issuing fresh warnings to Iran, posting on Truth Social overnight, and saying that the U.S. is keeping troops in and near Tehran, near Iran, including, for example, all ships, aircraft, and ammunition if necessary. He says they're going to stay there until what he calls the real agreement has been complied with. And that comes as the Pentagon also saying that the U.S. is sticking around Iran while all this is happening during this temporary ceasefire, and that they have all the tools needed to launch even harder strikes if Iran decides to violate the ceasefire and if things don't go well in the talks. We also know that Israel today talking to the media, saying that they will start direct talks with Lebanon themselves. And that's, as we know, Iran has been launching some strikes in the region, accusing Israel of violating the ceasefire by striking Lebanon. So a lot of diplomatic efforts to be watched for, but also we know that in-person talks are coming up.
That's right, a lot to watch for. Thank you for the update. Central Command says the U.S. has dismantled Iran's ability to project power beyond its borders. Here's Admiral Brad Cooper providing an update on Operation Epic Fury.
Iran has suffered a generational military defeat. The United States and Israel systematically destroyed Iran's ability to conduct large-scale military operations for years to come. Iran's conventional military capability, built over 40 years at the cost of billions of dollars, has been eliminated. As the president expressed earlier this week, our core strategic military objectives have been achieved after destroying Iran's missile, drone, and naval capabilities and their defensive industrial base.
Admiral Cooper says the U.S. successfully struck 13,000 Iranian military targets and flew thousands upon thousands of combat flights. He adds, while the strikes are on hold amid the ceasefire, the military remains vigilant and ready if called. The admiral also thanking service members involved in the mission, calling them the strongest, most lethal military the world has ever known. Cooper also honoring the 13 service members killed in the operation, saying they will always be remembered. The U.S. is keeping military capabilities near Iran. One reason for that is to make sure the Iranian regime actually lets ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz. NTD's international correspondent Arian Pastar has the latest.
Part of Homeland Security.
President Trump doubling down on previous warnings to Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The president says all U.S. ships, aircraft and military personnel will remain in place in and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. The Strait of Hormuz will be open and safe. In the meantime, our great military is loading up and resting.
Processus de désescalade et les conditions.
French President Emmanuel Macron agrees, first saying that concerns regarding Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs have to be addressed, then adding that any agreement will have to address Iran's actions obstructing navigation through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran on Thursday claiming that the strait is open. Iran's state broadcaster published this chart of designated routes in the passage with an area marked danger zone. Iran says vessels should coordinate with the regime because of dangerous mines it placed during the fighting. That's partly why the strait remains quiet. Tracking data shows that only a handful of vessels passed through in the past 24 hours. A spokesman for shipping giant Hapag-Lloyd says an international coalition should make sure the strait is safe to pass through.
If there are actually mines there, then those mines must be cleared. Ships may also need to be escorted. We are, after all, talking about a very narrow window of just a few days following the ceasefire.
And the head of the International Monetary Fund suggesting Iran's closure of the strait affects the entire globe.
Had it not been for this shock, the world would have been in such a much better place than we would have been upgrading our growth projections. But now, even in our most hopeful scenario, we would have a downgrade.
She added that oil supply disruptions will continue to have ripple effects. Arian Pastar, NTD News.
The United Arab Emirates says its airspace is now clear of the threats, a sign the ceasefire across the Gulf may be holding after attacks in the region and inside Iran just a day earlier. In a statement, the UAE Ministry of Defense saying its air defense systems detected no ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, or drones launched from Iran in recent hours. Officials say no new injuries or deaths have been reported during that time. Since the conflict began, the UAE says its forces have intercepted nearly 540 ballistic missiles, over 25 cruise missiles, and more than 2,200 drones. The total number of injuries stands at 224 people of multiple nationalities. Despite the pause in attacks, the UAE says it remains on high alert. Oil prices are easing slightly but remain elevated after recent volatility. Stocks are trading modestly lower this afternoon, with the S&P 500 and the Dow both edging down. In the oil market, U.S. crude is trading in the high $90 range, while Brent crude is hovering at similar levels just below $100 a barrel. And the FBI has arrested a former Fort Bragg contractor accused of leaking classified military secrets to a journalist. Courtney Williams is charged under the Espionage Act for allegedly sharing sensitive information about a top special forces unit. Prosecutors say she had top secret clearance and access to classified national defense information during her time supporting military operations. Investigators say she communicated with a reporter over several years, exchanging more than 180 messages and hours of calls. Authorities say some of that information later appeared in a published article and book, naming her as a source. FBI Director Kash Patel warning the case could send a clear message that the Bureau won't tolerate those who seek to betray the country. A Pakistani national has pleaded guilty to attempted terrorism charges. The Justice Department said the individual had been planning to carry out a mass shooting at a Jewish center in New York City. According to the DOJ, Mohammed Shahzeb Khan had intended to time his ISIS-inspired attack for the anniversary of Hamas' October 7th terror attack against Israel. The DOJ said Khan had selected New York City as his target due to its large Jewish population. According to the FBI's New York field office, Khan had expressed hope that his plot would mark the largest attack on American soil since 9/11. The DOJ said Khan had planned to illegally enter the U.S. from Canada, but was arrested 12 miles from the border. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte in Washington, D.C. to outline the future trajectory of the alliance. This is after President Trump voiced disappointments with the alliance for its inactions over the Iran war. Here is Rutte speaking at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation Institute today.
This alliance is not whistling past the graveyard, as you would say in the United States. Allies recognize, and I recognize, we are in a period of profound change in the transatlantic alliance. Europe is assuming a greater and fairer share of the task of providing for its conventional defense. And from that, there will be no going back, and nor should there be. This is a move from unhealthy codependence to a transatlantic alliance grounded in true partnership. For increased investments and improved production to matter, they must be accompanied by a mindset shift.
The head of NATO says the alliance agrees that Iran should not have a nuclear and ballistic missile weapon. He says it's good news that the U.S. degraded Iran's capabilities. On the Strait of Hormuz, he says the UK is taking the leadership role to bring together a coalition of countries to ensure navigation freedom. Rutte says he understands President Trump is disappointed with the alliance. The Secretary General acknowledging that European allies developed an unhealthy codependence on the U.S. for national security. He says NATO is changing thanks to American leadership, and Europe will take on a greater role going forward.
He was disappointed yesterday, but we also had a very frank and open discussion amongst friends. But generally, I mean, I totally understand that over time, the US wants more and more to pivot towards the Indo-Pacific. This is one of the reasons why in Europe we have to step up, end that period of codependence and become more interdependent with the United States. Within the alliance, a stronger Europe and a stronger NATO.
And House Republicans are calling for an investigation into alleged CCP-linked nonprofits in the U.S., warning they may be engaging in political activity and influencing elections. More news after this in just a moment. Stay with us.
Shenyun Creations, the streaming platform from Shenyun, featuring world-class dance, past programs, and all original music. Masterclasses, behind the scenes, comedy, and more. Explore shenyuncreations.com.
Discover the ancient secret to vitality and longevity with Puretang Black Ginseng. Crafted from premium 6-year-old Korean ginseng, each root is carefully nurtured for over 2,260 days, undergoing a traditional 9-round handcrafted process of steaming and drying to unlock full potency and absorption. Experience pure, natural energy with Puretang Black Ginseng. Order now at puretang.com.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
They're just young people, hungry, homeless, and vulnerable. Covenant House is helping young adults facing homelessness. We're providing safe shelter to thousands, but the need is overwhelming. Please call or go online now. With your gift of $19 a month, we'll send you this blanket as a reminder of the comfort your gift provides a young person tonight. You'll provide safe shelter, hot meals, and medical care. Call the number on your screen or go online to safeplacetosleep.org.
Tired of struggling with that heavy leaf blower? Introducing the Bullseye Power Blower. It delivers a massive blowing force, and yet it's so compact and lightweight. Just lock and load the rechargeable battery for long-lasting runtime. The secret is the compact turbocharged motor with jet burst technology that blasts out 21,000 RPMs of airflow. Watch this. The sheer force propels this woman across the pool. Look, use Bullseye to blow up a huge jump house. Now that's power. Even blows snow right off your vehicle in no time. Turbo clean your porch in a flash or tidy up your dirty garage floor in seconds. Get it today for just $99.99. But wait, act now and get a $20 discount. So it's only $79.99. Plus, you'll get the adjustable extension tube. Yours free. And it all comes with free shipping. Order now.
Call 1-800-209-2313 or go to bullseyeblower.com. That's 1-800-209-2313 or order online at bullseyeblower.com. Order now.
ICE is marking the one-year anniversary of the relaunch of the Voice Office. It stands for Victims of Immigration Crime Engagement. ICE Director Todd Lyons providing an update on first-year statistics related to the program.
The Victim of Immigration Crime Engagement Office, which we call VOICE, exists for one reason: to ensure the victims of crime committed by aliens are not forgotten, so they are not ignored. The Voice Office provides a direct line to information, support, and accountability, helping victims and their families understand what happened, what comes next, where the offender stands in the immigration system, and where they're located. Because for too long, many of these people standing here with me have felt like they didn't have a voice. But 1 year ago, that changed.
The ICE director says the Voice Office received nearly 900 calls from victims, family members, and advocates in the past year. Of those who've called, 32% reported violent assault, 15% reported rape or sexual assault, 9% reported homicide and manslaughter, 7% reported family or partner violence, and 6% reported stalking or intimidation. ICE invited family members of victims to share their stories. They include parents who lost their children to murder by illegal immigrants. They thank the Trump administration for relaunching the Voice Office to support them. ICE says the Voice Office is important because the victims often have nowhere else to turn to and are ignored by special interests. California Attorney General Rob Bonta is holding a press conference on hospice care fraud. Let's take a listen.
The stacked is probably a little better to get tighter. Alex will direct you.
Two lines. Here on your picture, 2.
Excellent. Well, thanks, everyone. Appreciate you being here. Grateful for your presence, and good morning. I'm California Attorney General Rob Bonta. Welcome to our office here in Los Angeles. We're here today to announce the results of a massive hospice fraud bust in Los Angeles County, and it's called Operation Skip Trace. Operation Skip Trace uncovered and ended a hospice fraud scheme that defrauded Medi-Cal of $267 million. So just to be clear, $250 million. Over. Funds that are paid for by California taxpayers, funds that are meant to provide care to Californians in need. It is unacceptable, it is illegal, and we will not stand for it. Last Thursday, we filed felony criminal charges against 21 suspects, including healthcare fraud, money laundering, and identity theft. And yesterday, we successfully executed search and arrest warrants at 10 separate locations and arrested 5 suspects so far throughout Southern California. I'm going to break down the details of this operation in a moment, but first, I just want to make one point very clear. This is just the latest example of the California DOJ's long-standing, ongoing, and successful efforts to combat hospice and Medi-Cal fraud. We have been doing this work for years. We've been doing it successfully before certain people in this country decided to think about it for the first time. We will continue to do this work. Heads down, sleeves rolled up, important investigative work, prosecutorial work. I also want to make clear, this is our case, a California case, from beginning to end. My office worked on it. We worked on it with the Department of Health Care Services, the Franchise Tax Board, and other partner agencies. This is a California case. We will prosecute this case. We will have it from beginning to end. While healthcare fraud might be President Trump's shiny, new political talking point, California DOJ has been going after healthcare fraud since 1979. For decades, Trump is late to the party. Protecting taxpayer dollars and protecting programs sick and vulnerable Californians rely on have been our priority for nearly 5 decades. Our Division of Medicare Fraud and Elder Abuse, also known as DMFEA, is one of the most aggressive and dynamic Medicaid fraud control units in the nation. Just since I came into this office in 2021, DMFEA has conducted nearly 300 hospice-related investigations, filed 119 hospice-related criminal cases, and secured 51 hospice-related convictions. So while some are just starting to discover this issue, we have been on it, holding people accountable, taking down criminal operations. That's just talking about our hospice fraud work, which is only one part of the anti-fraud work DMFEA conducts. Over the last decade, DMFEA has recovered a total of $1.54 billion in civil and criminal Medi-Cal fraud cases. This is our area of expertise. Someone don't lean on the lights. This is our area of expertise. It's our bread and butter. It's what we do, and we will continue to do it. And one of the reasons we're so successful is our partnership with other California agencies. This is collaborative work. This is partnership work. In the case of Operation Skip Trace, that included Governor Newsom and his office. We're grateful to Governor Newsom's leadership and partnership. It included the California Department of Health Care Services and the California Health and Human Services Agency, which is represented today by Secretary Kim Johnson, who you will hear from in a moment. I am grateful for all of their partnerships. We couldn't do this work without them. This is a collective, joint, collaborative effort. The success is because of the partnership. This was not only a great team effort, but it was really important law enforcement work on full display. And good law enforcement work is team work, is collaborative work. Let me tell you more about this scheme and the criminal operation here. Operation Skip Trace was initially kicked off by a tip from California DHCS, Department of Health Care Services, of a tip of alleged hospice fraud at 14 companies. DOJ's DMFEA, the Division of Medi-Cal Fraud and Elder Abuse, my team, investigated those 14 companies, plus a billing company, and 8 individuals suspected of money laundering. We found that those involved in this fraud, in this scheme, would purchase personal identifying information for people who live outside of California on the dark web, and then enroll them into covered California, posing as California residents. Straw owners then bought up a number of hospice companies and began billing Medi-Cal for non-existent services for those stolen identities. They used fake records, non-existent offices, and fake diagnoses to justify these claims. Meanwhile, the so-called patients were healthy, out of state, and completely unaware that they had been enrolled in hospice care. Once the money was paid out, it was funneled through a complex web of over 130 shell companies and hidden across bank accounts, payment apps, and cryptocurrency to evade detection. The money was laundered. As I said, the scheme racked up approximately $267 million in fraudulent billing, So far, our team has already recovered more than $30 million, with more to come, and we worked with DHCS and the Comptroller's Office to stop checks worth more than $40 million. This scheme, this criminal operation was no accident. It wasn't a case of billing errors, cutting corners, or upcharging care. This was a brazen, calculated criminal scheme that exploited the Medi-Cal system, stole from the state of California and Medicaid, and prevented services and care from going to sick individuals who actually need it. We've put an end to this fraud, and we intend to prosecute the perpetrators to the fullest extent of the law. They are facing prison time from 10 to 16 years. Let this be a lesson to anyone targeting Medi-Cal and hospice care in California. We're on the case, and we're coming for you. California has a no-tolerance policy for fraud. We're laser-focused on rooting out and eradicating fraud that targets our programs, hurts our people, and steals from our state. At California DOJ, that includes the work DMFEA does, day in and day out, to snuff out Medi-Cal fraud, including hospice fraud. To claim this is a uniquely California problem is ludicrous. Just plainly untrue. False. Anywhere there's money flowing, anywhere bad actors sniff out an opportunity to seize ill-gotten gains, there's risk of fraud. In California, yes, and also in every other state. While President Trump, First Assistant Saley, and Dr. Oz try to villainize California to score political points, the truth is that the federal government has also increased oversight into hospice fraud in Texas, in Georgia, and in Ohio, among other states. This is a serious issue across the nation, no doubt, which is why California DOJ, together with the governor and our partners across agencies, are serious about tackling it head-on and have been doing so for years. It's why we've been on the case for decades, hardening government systems, protecting critical assistance programs, and arresting fraudsters who see our public programs as their piggy banks. While Trump, Saley, and Oz have deemed fraud the flavor of the month in their attempt to resurrect Trump's plummeting approval rating, California DOJ, our law enforcement agents, our investigators, our prosecutors, have been on the ground in our communities fighting fraud, fighting waste, and fighting abuse for years. This is not a political game for us. This is about protecting public funds, serving our residents, delivering programs that sick and vulnerable Californians need. Tackling fraud isn't and should never be partisan or political. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We welcome partnership with the federal government that actually aims to tackle fraud, that puts serving the public above political sparring. In the meantime, California will continue doing the work, continue doing what we have done, and we will continue to do that important work to tackle fraud. I encourage the public to do their part too. Anyone who believes they've witnessed or experienced hospice fraud can submit a complaint on our website, oag.ca.gov/DMFEA/reporting. You can also call us toll free at 800-722-0432. 722-0432. Anyone who believes they've witnessed a false claim against the state can contact DOJ's Public Inquiry Unit. You can find more information on our website at oag.ca.gov/contact or call the unit directly at 800-952-5225. We also have specific landing pages for our anti-fraud work generally and our anti-hospice fraud work specifically for those, whether you've had the interest before or are just now getting it, to learn about the work that we've been doing for years, for decades. Finally, Before I turn it over to my fellow speakers, I want to express my deep gratitude, my deep appreciation for the members of DMFEA who made Operation Skip Trace a success. Their chief, Jennifer Euler, is right here. She doesn't do this for the recognition. This is a work of passion and public service that she's been doing for years. I'm grateful to have her on my team and to be a colleague of hers as she leads an amazing team doing this work every day. It's tireless, it's passionate, and it is of great asset to the public and to our state. With that, I will circle back for questions, but I want to turn it over now to thank and welcome Secretary Johnson to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney General Bonta, for your partnership in this effort, pursuing this case and holding the perpetrators accountable. Thank you also for your broader efforts to protect.
And you were just watching California Attorney General Rob Bonta announcing Skip Trace, which is a program aimed to tackle fraud in California, specifically taking decisive action to dismantle a large-scale identity theft and hospice fraud scheme targeting the Medi-Cal program in Los Angeles, and saying that California has been tackling fraud for almost 50 years, since 1979. Okay, First Lady Melania Trump is going to deliver remarks from the White House. We'll bring it to you live after this break. Stay tuned.
What if kids in America didn't have to go to bed hungry tonight? What if our moms, dads, and grandparents could put healthy food on the table every day to help us grow strong? What if all of our friends and neighbors had fresh food too, and there was no hunger at all in America? And what if there was a way today for you to help? Call now or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org and give $19 a month, just 63 cents a day. So many of us don't have enough food to eat, but your monthly gift means families across the country and in your community can fill plates with food. Kids can get healthy meals year-round, even when school's out, and our neighbors can have fresh food. Food that moms, dads, entire families need to thrive. But right now, more people are facing hunger. Feeding America works from coast to coast with partner food banks, food pantries, and meal programs. It takes all of us to make that happen. Will you help too? Please call the number on your screen or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org and give just $19 a month. And we'll send you this free canvas grocery bag. It's our way of saying thank you for helping to end hunger for our neighbors. Because no kid, no mom or dad, nobody should go hungry in America. Nobody. So what if today was the day you could help nourish futures for our friends, our families, for all of us? Ending hunger is possible. What if we end it together? Call or give online today at helpfeedingamerica.org and your gift can be doubled. Thank you.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
First Lady Melania Trump is delivering remarks from the White House. Let's listen in.
The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein
need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect. I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean-spirited attempts to defame my reputation. I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania. The first time I crossed paths with Epstein was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together. At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge of his criminal undertakings. Numerous fake images and statements about Epstein and me have been circulating on social media for years now. Be cautious about what you believe. These images and stories are completely false. I'm not a witness or a named witness in connection with any of Epstein's crimes. My name has never appeared in court documents, depositions, victim statements, or FBI interviews surrounding the Epstein matter. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island. I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking, abuse of minors, and other repulsive behavior. The false smears about me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause damage to my good name, to gain financially and climb politically, must stop. My attorneys and I have fought these unfounded and baseless lies with success and will continue to maintain my sound reputation without hesitation. To date, several individuals and companies have been legally obligated to publicly apologize and retract their lies about me, such as Daily Beast, James Carville, and HarperCollins, UK. Now is the time for Congress to act. Epstein was not alone. Several prominent male executives resigned from their powerful positions after this matter became widely politicized. Of course, this doesn't amount to guilt, but we still must work openly and transparently to uncover the truth. I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. Give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have a day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record. Then, and only then, we will have the truth. Thank you.
And that was First Lady Melania Trump saying that she had no relationship with Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and has not been on his plane to his island. She was not introduced by Epstein and had no knowledge of the crimes that he's done. Okay, let's take a break now. House Republicans are calling for an investigation into alleged CCP-linked nonprofits in the U.S., warning they may be engaging in political activity and influencing elections. More after this. Stay tuned.
For the first time ever, we're bringing you MyPillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our MyPillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our MyPillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door, absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to get MyPillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
Imagine a coffee that cares for your health. Expertly fermented with a 50-enzyme complex to enhance flavor and remove bitterness. Small batch roasted to a decadent medium dark, resulting in a brew that is gentle on digestion, low acid, and up to 90% less caffeine than regular coffee. Try America's first enzyme fermented coffee today.
This is how I keep my joints happy.
Omega XL is a powerful natural supplement backed by 40 years of clinical research. Take control of your pain, like Cynthia Bailey.
My knees in particular started giving me pain issues all the way back to my modeling days, from just running through airports, photo shoots. After taking Omega XL, I really started to notice how less stiff I was, especially my knees and my hip. Has Omega XL changed my life? Yes. I barely notice my joint pain anymore. Now I'm like literally sprinting through the airports. My secret is Omega XL.
Pick up the phone and call now to get this exclusive TV offer. Buy one Omega XL and we'll send you a second bottle absolutely free. You'll also get a free bottle of Vitamin XL D3. Buy one, get two free. A total value of over $115, all for just $49.95. You save more than 55% and shipping is free. Backed by a money-back guarantee and is not available in stores. Operators are standing by, so call now.
When we first met Todd, he was singing a song, and I was like, wow, look at this kid with the biggest smile.
Todd's a joy.
Yes.
Todd's really is a great joy. And you.
Learn about adopting a teen at adoptuskids.org.
The Justice Department is launching an investigation into the NFL. It's trying to see if the Football League has violated antitrust rules over its streaming services. The probe stems from the NFL's TV rights deals. The league has increasingly split its games among different subscription platforms such as Amazon Prime and Netflix. This means fans need to pay for multiple subscriptions to watch every game of the season. An estimate by Senator Mike Lee says that cost comes to almost $1,000 a month. The Broadcasting Act of 1961 gives the league limited antitrust exemption. It allows the teams to negotiate packages of TV rights collectively. The DOJ probe will look at whether the league's streaming practices undermine the rationale of the antitrust exemption and harm consumers. The probe comes as the NFL is renegotiating its TV rights deals with broadcasters. Authorities in the Bahamas have arrested a Michigan man following his wife's disappearance at sea over the weekend. Brian Hooker's arrest came after the U.S. Coast Guard opened a criminal investigation into the case. According to a police report, Hooker said his wife, Lynette Hooker, fell overboard with the boat's keys, causing the engine to shut off. He said strong currents carried her away. He said he paddled to shore and alerted a person on the beach who notified police. The incident happened Saturday, and search and rescue efforts were called off yesterday. He has not been charged with any crime yet, and his attorney says he has been cooperating with authorities and denies any wrongdoing. Social media giant TikTok is seeking a dismissal of a New York case that accuses the company of harming users' mental health. NTD's Arlene Richards has more on yesterday's proceedings.
But isn't it a product?
A New York appellate panel of judges on Wednesday hearing arguments over whether the state of New York can sue TikTok on behalf of the platform's users. TikTok argues that only people who are harmed can bring claims. To answer the question of whether a state can sue TikTok, the courts have to grapple over whether the state's case is about the content posted on TikTok, in which case the company would be immune from liability under the First Amendment, or the design of the platform and its algorithms, which may arguably be called a product.
The TikTok itself, is that not a product?
No, TikTok is
the algorithm
platform. The algorithm, that's all a publication mechanism, a service under New York law compared to a product.
Does the First Amendment protect human beings or artificial intelligence?
As you're gathering together things based upon the user and what the user has exhibited some interest in, and then feeding that directly to the user.
New York is one of a coalition of 14 state attorneys general who filed lawsuits in 2024 against TikTok and its parent company, ByteDance. They are accusing the social media platform of harming young users' mental health while deceiving the public about its dangers. New York State Supreme Court ruled last May that Attorney General Letitia James could sue the platform and rejected TikTok's request for a dismissal of the case. In Wednesday's proceeding, the New York attorney explained why the algorithm is a product and not related to free speech.
But how do we get past that being like speech from different people just pulled together in a way that they say is interesting versus it being an actual product?
So I think that this is a product in the same way like a child's toy would be, a child's entertainment or a child's toy would be a product.
Since the platform's U.S. operations were sold to a group of American investors in January, concerns have remained over whether its algorithm could still manipulate content on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party. The chairman of the House Select Committee on the CCP, Congressman John Moulinar, recently told Cliff May on the Foreign Policy podcast that he wasn't satisfied that TikTok's parent company ByteDance still owns a minority stake in the U.S. operations.
There's a lot of unanswered questions. To your point about the algorithm, to what degree does ByteDance still have control of that algorithm? And how secure is the data when it comes to Americans' data?
In the New York case, the panel didn't rule on Wednesday. Arlene Richards, NTD News.
Top House Republicans are calling on the IRS to take action to stop the Chinese Communist Party from exploiting our nonprofit sector to influence U.S. politics. NTD's Melania Weisskopf has more on the latest development.
Chairman of two committees, one that focuses on the Chinese Communist Party and another that focuses on tax issues, are joining forces urging IRS officials to close loopholes in the nonprofit tax-exempt sector. The chairman first won an investigation by the IRS into certain tax-exempt organizations with alleged ties to Beijing. The issue is that groups are exploiting our tax system to engage in political activity that manipulates our democratic institutions, and lawmakers say supports the interests of the Chinese Communist Party. Groups explicitly listed as concerning include the People's Forum, Breakthrough News, and Tricontinental Institute for Social Research. There are also many so-called hometown associations. These are community-based groups that are on paper meant to connect Chinese diaspora communities, but lawmakers say in practice the CCP uses these so-called hometown groups to influence our elections and public perception about the CCP. And one case that depicts the level of political sway that these groups have is a case that happened in New York. Chinese agents threatened a congressional candidate who was critical of the regime, and the Chinese consulate coerced community organizations to deny that candidate a stage or a venue to engage with the community. It's an issue lawmakers have been looking into for several years. At the most recent hearing on the issue, Chairman of the Ways and Means Committee Jason Smith bluntly said, the CCP is taking advantage of our tax-exempt sector to poison our dialogue and cause division in our political system. Listen.
Many of these tax-exempt groups also have documented ties to hostile foreign governments, like the Chinese Communist Party. The People's Forum, an American tax-exempt group who I demanded documents from in September. It hosts events and courses pushing Communist Party propaganda, incites violent protests and riots, including disruptive occupations of college campuses.
This issue builds on previous concerns about a CCP-backed billionaire by the name of Neville Roy Singham bankrolling what appear to be grassroots protests on sensitive issues like ICE policy, Palestine, or LGBTQ issues. A New York Times investigation found that at least 53 nonprofit tax-exempt organizations raised money for political candidates, potentially violating federal law. The lawmakers are now demanding a briefing by April 22nd on what steps the IRS has taken to address the issue. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weisskopf, NTD News.
The Philippines unveiling a major new Coast Guard base today in a disputed region of the South China Sea, an area closely monitored by Chinese forces. The base is located on an island long occupied by Filipino troops and civilians. It's being described by Manila as a steadfast sentinel of its sovereignty. China did not immediately respond, but Beijing also claims the territory along with Vietnam and Taiwan. Chinese Coast Guard and government-linked vessels frequently patrol nearby waters. Tensions in the region remain high. This afternoon, the Philippine Coast Guard accused Chinese forces of firing flares toward one of its patrol aircraft, calling it a clear and deliberate act of bullying that endangered personnel. China continues to claim nearly the entire South China Sea, despite a 2016 international arbitration ruling that rejected those claims. Beijing refused to take part in that case and continues to dismiss the outcome. NASA shares a new look at the Milky Way sent from the Artemis II mission, and a crew in the Pacific Ocean is preparing for the ship's splashdown tomorrow. NTD correspondent Jason Blair has the story.
Now, the crew also took an image yesterday of the Milky Way, which is stunning.
A new photo shared by NASA shows the latest view of the Milky Way galaxy from near the moon. The photo was taken on day 7 of the 10-day mission. NASA says the Artemis astronauts received photography training before the flight.
This morning, we're going to send them a note that says that, how great their photos were and how much the world is talking about them.
And the Monday eclipse photos from the far side of the moon were not easy to take.
The automatic system on the camera would not give you the picture that you saw, right? Because you've just got a very little bit of light around the edge of the moon. We took an array of photos at different exposures to make sure we got it.
And after some good and bad days, the issue with the only toilet on board remains mostly resolved.
The toilet remains operational. The challenge that we're working through is evacuating the wastewater tank. The vent is a lot less than we were expecting, and so we're having to fall back to some other alternate means.
Crews have been already setting up on the Pacific Ocean for when the Artemis II will return to Earth.
I'm currently at sea aboard the USS John P. Murtha with the joint NASA and military team who are ready to safely recover the crew once they splash down off the coast of California.
The splash landing is scheduled for 8:07 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Jason Blair, NTD News.
A small bird is causing a big stir in Midtown Manhattan. Crowds are gathering in Bryant Park for a wildlife sighting that's turning an ordinary park visit into something special. NTD's Niku Bani has the story.
Right here in the middle of Bryant Park, surrounded by skyscrapers and city noise, you wouldn't expect to find a rare migratory bird that usually sticks to quiet forests. However, that's exactly what's happening here. Behind me, we have a rare visit from the American woodcock. It's small, camouflaged, and usually active at night, making it one of the hardest birds to spot in the wild. But every spring, a few of them touch down in Bryant Park to rest and refuel during migration, a special find for city bird watchers.
The woodcock is an incredible bird, and I can't believe it flew all this way and has landed here in New York City. And we can see it in Bryant Park. I just had to see it. It's so cute.
Drawn by word of mouth and viral videos of its signature bobbing walk, visitors gather, hoping to catch a glimpse.
It's a really unique bird. He's just hanging out, he's taking a little snooze. You see him ruffle his feathers every so often.
They have long beaks, they're chubby, and it also does a little dance. It like bobs up and down, and I think that just charms everyone.
That dance isn't just for show. It helps the bird hunt. Rocking its body, the woodcock sends vibrations through the ground, finding worms below the surface. And it may look shy during the day, but at night the woodcock puts on a show with a quirky call to attract a mate, something like this.
Meep, meep, meep.
Now, for the people gathered here, it's more than just a bird sighting.
It's a really nice experience, right? Like, you come, you see it, there's dozens of other people around you, people will talk to each other, like if it catches a worm, everybody gets so excited. It's like a nice communal experience.
I think it means that New Yorkers want still to have some connection to the natural world, even though we're in a place with a lot of concrete and glass and other human beings. You could just step out into your local park and probably find something amazing.
Now, don't worry if you missed the American woodcock today. He should still stick around for a couple more days. And also later this month, official birding tour season starts at Bryant Park. So make sure to catch those too. Nico Bani, NTD News, New York.
President Trump warning Iran that U.S. forces will remain in place in around the country as a ceasefire holds, and the president's message to NATO a day after his meeting with its Secretary General. More after this break. Stay tuned.
I have traveled all over the world to 50 countries now, and I have never seen a production any better than this anywhere.
Breathtaking. It is absolutely stunning. It's so uplifting.
I feel better about the world.
It was encouraging, gave me hope.
It was absolutely amazingly divine.
I thought I was going to heaven.
You have to come see it.
Multiple times. It's worth every penny.
Make sure you see it. Make sure you see it.
Returns to David Koch Theater, March 25th through April 12th. Shenyun.com.
So at the age of 5, I was sexually molested. I had my first child at the age of 15 and became homeless at the age of 16. The scariest part about not having a place to live was having a child and not having a place to live and not knowing where our meal was going to come from and where we're going to sleep. To be homeless as a teen, I didn't ask for that.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or a warm meal to eat, or whether anyone cares about them. 1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year, and that's unacceptable. But the good news is there is an organization making a big difference, Covenant House.
Call or go online now. For a gift of only $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, you can provide hot meals, safe shelter, medical care, and love to more than 2,000 young people who sleep at a Covenant House every night.
For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis.
It was pretty tough. But Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
Call or go online right now to safeplacetosleep.org with your gift of just $19 a month. With your monthly donation, you'll receive this soft, comforting blanket as a reminder of the warmth and safety your gift will provide a young person tonight.
I have no words to express how Covenant House changed my life. They gave me the love that I needed. They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding.
Your $19 monthly gift is urgently needed to reach other young people who are facing unimaginable situations. Call or go online to safeplacetosleep.org.
Your support makes the work of Covenant House possible. Thank you for caring.
Is deep sea fish oil really healthy?
Due to pollution in the oceans, most fish contain heavy metal elements and radioactive substances. That's why it's so important to choose a pure source of omega-3. Puritang Green Vegetable Omega-3 is made from purslane and perilla seeds, which are rich in nutrients and minerals. It effectively improves brain power and is beneficial to the heart's health. Puritang Green Vegetable Omega-3. Eat 2 a day and you'll feel brand new.
NTD News.